Welcome, everyone, to Lasarthe, France, and Circuit de Lasarthe, and the home of the 24 Hours of Le Mans. That's right, we are here at this legendary 8.4-mile road course, a track that dates all the way back to 1923. That's right, Le Mans is a combination of public roads and permanent circuit, and it has been that way since day one. Of course, the track has been grown upon and added to over the years, and we're about to see the beauty of this incredible track. Here we go. Let's get ready to head up the front straightaway here as we see the beautiful grandstands on the left and right as we approach the start-finish line here. Coming across it now as we head up into turn one. This is a very fast entry. Very exciting entry to turn one. Love this corner. Coming down into a right-hand sweeper. We're going to get hard on the brakes. Get down through the gears here and get ready for this very tight first chicane. Up through Dunlop and heading up underneath the Dunlop Bridge. This will be a slight left-hander and then back to the right as we come down the hill into Tetra Rouge. This will be a hard left-hander. A little bit of a banked corner, which is nice. Gives you some good momentum up and out. But then you got this light crest here. It gets the car light. And then into Tetra Rouge, the double right out onto the main straightaway. A lot of speed on exit here. And you need that because this takes you out onto Mulsanne Straight, the longest straightaway here at Le Mans. Great overtaking opportunities here, obviously, with the slipstream down this long straightaway. As you can see, we're heading down a public road here with all the businesses and homes on the left and right. What a great place to view this race from. Coming down into the first chicane here on Mulsanne, we're going to get down into the gears at the 100 marker. Into second gear, trail brake, let it roll off that second exit, and right back up through the gears, taking just a little bit of curb not to upset the car. Back out onto the next section of Mulsanne Straight. Again, slipstream opportunities here, obviously, in the first couple sectors of the lap. A lot of speed here. We'll be hitting speeds of upwards of 170 to 180 miles an hour coming down into the second chicane here. 100 marker, back down through the gears, into second gear. Gonna let that car roll back to the right, come right back to throttle, get right up onto the inside curb, and get a good launch out onto the final section of Mulsanne Straight. This corner down here is obviously exciting for spectators. You'll see a lot of them piled up here as these cars roar down into Mulsanne Corner. Very, very difficult right-hander. Heavy on the brakes, down through the gears, all the way down into first gear. Hug that inside tight, come right back to throttle, and up through the gears once again. Coming off that corner back there's a lot of undulation, very staggered track surface. Certainly can get that back end loose as you're coming to throttle. You got to be real careful back there. Coming down this second long straightaway here, actually the second longest straight at Circuit de Lasarthe. We come down into a section known as Indianapolis. We're going to get heavy on the brakes here. Coming down into this very tight left-hander, down into second gear. We're going to use the banking to get that car to rotate up off the top of the crest of the corner. And then heavy braking down into our notch, down into first gear. Once again, tight right-hander, easy on exit. And back up into another very high-speed section. You can tell Le Mans is a very fast course, an opportunity for drivers to really stretch their legs out and let those engines roar. Here we go, some of the toughest corners on the track. Coming into Porsche curves. Very fast right-hander, hug that bottom. And then we're going to pin it through Porsche curve here to the left, right out to that wall. Up into fifth gear, and then heavy braking down into fourth. With this long, rotating, wrapping right-hander, and then right back to the left. Getting a little bit loose coming out of there, but that's all right. We were able to save it. Coming through this little fast chicane, then we're going to come down into Ford chicanes to wrap up the end of this lap here. Down into this quick left, right, down into second gear. Going to roll center, back to the right again, out of the Ford chicanes, and right back up onto the front straightaway, across the stripe. There's your track guide for the wonderful, beautiful Circuit des Lessarts here in La Sarthe, France. Thank you for being with us. The Ricmotech Sports Car Championship presents the Ricmotech GT Challenge, brought to you by Ricmotech, high-performance sim racing equipment, and in part by Proforma, Elite Texas Graphics.
Hello and welcome to Apex Racing TV. My name is Tyler Maxson, and welcome to the Ricmotech Ricmotech GT Challenge Series. Sorry, I'm so used to saying World Challenge Series when we come here to this excellent venue of Le Mans. My name is Tyler Maxson, and joining me in the commentary booth tonight is Brad Klenek. Brad, welcome to the commentary booth. First broadcast here with us on Apex Racing TV. Welcome to the commentary booth for the first time, and welcome to Le Mans.
Yes, thanks, Tyler. Hopefully, I can get up to speed pretty quick. I'm not too familiar with the drivers in this series, so it should be interesting to cover. And yeah, what an iconic track to start things off.
Yeah, definitely an iconic track. Today, the qualifying sponsor is presented to you by Proforma Elite Texas Graphics, with the title sponsor tonight being Ricmotech. So we go back to this excellent venue with this excellent series. The last time we left off was a long time ago, back at Detroit Belle Isle. Let's look at the track here tonight. We have 24 degrees track temperature with 18 degrees Celsius air ambient in that long 13-kilometer circuit with only 33 meters of elevation change across this legendary circuit in France.
Yeah, we can see there's an 18-kilometer-an-hour wind at the moment, so that could have an impact along the straights with the direction heading into braking zones or headwind in some directions. So it'll be interesting to see how the drivers handle that.
Yes, it will be indeed. Let's see if we can go ahead and get the pre-championship up here tonight. Try and sort that out for you here in just a few moments' time, but then we will go ahead and get things sorted out. We just got 2 minutes left in qualifying here tonight. Currently, it's Manuel Arguedo on the pole position. Aeronom, who's the ever-quick Aeronom, is going to start out of second position right now, with William Laster in third. Elvis Rankin is fourth, and Mike Dam is fifth. That is for your GTLM class. And then down in your GTD class, we have Scott List, Ramler, who will start out on the pole position with Ian Gagon Renault in second, with Tyler Shiflett will start out of third position. So that's your top five and your top three in GTD. Your top five in GTD is going to be Block Hopkins in fourth, with Jim List, That will round out your top 5 in GTD, and that will be your top 5 qualifiers. And both of your classes here tonight, your GTLMs, which is the GTE cars within iRacing, and the GTD cars are going to be your GT3s. So 2 of those classes running out here tonight, and a lot of action will happen nonetheless. In just a few short moments' time, we'll get ready to go for 90 minutes of nonstop action here from Le Mans. We have the very long back straightaways, then into the very tight and twisty Porsche curves. So this should be an amazing race. And we're going to get that started in just a few moments' time. 10 seconds left in qualifying here tonight until we get ready to go through the grid here for this 90-minute endurance event.
Yeah, Tyler, it should be interesting to see how the drivers handle the challenge of Le Mans, especially with the new BOP changes for the new season, the new build. And it's always that challenge of trying to balance the straight line speed versus the technical sections of the chicanes.
So the grid is now up on your screen now. It's Miguel Arguedo on the pole position. Aeronam will start out of second. William Laster in third. Elvis Rankin in fourth. Mike Dam will start out of fifth. Pascal Iannucci sixth. Andrew Karen seventh. Mike David Payton eighth. Brandon Wilson ninth. Caden Bien, that'll be your top 10. Then it's Travis Schwenke, Bobby Childs, Miguel Arguedo, Travis Davis, that's a tongue twister, Chris Thorman, Losky Oriol, Brian Cartier, Kevin Ford, Rafael Sousa, Russ Ruddock, and Russ Ruddock will be your top 20. And we'll just get the grid cycled through here now. Raymond Bader will start at a 21st, Jeff Jacobs at a 22nd, Georgie Fike at a 23rd, Edgar Sancinelli, Chris Chirichos, Michael Key, Humberto, Arthur, Chan, and your race marshal. That will be your starting grid here for the GTLM class. Then we will switch over to your GTDs, and it will be Scott Ramler on the pole position with Ian Gungun Renault in second, Tyler Shiflett in third, Brock Hopkins in fourth, Jim List in fifth. Then it'll be Tyler Guadalumente, Eric Violet, Jack Wells, Clint Vigas, Brandon Misler, Brandon Whitworth, Derek Holland, Lee Overton, Chad Parker, Michael Hilliard, and Robert Briss. That will round out your 45-car grid here tonight. There's a lot of cars on the grid ready to go racing, and there is a lot of time to be made up for the drivers if they're starting a little bit further back, and a lot of time to do it. There's going to be one pit stop here for your GTLMs, and it's going to be very tight if the GTDs can go on one pit stop in length, but we obviously know that doing one pit stop is going to be a whole lot shorter and a lot faster than doing that 2 pit stop strategy. We'll see if anyone tries to opt for the faster 2 pit stop, for the faster 1-stop strategy, maybe sacrifice a bit of pace within the race, or go for the 2-stop strategy and run a little bit harder during the race, but lose that time in the pit stop phases.
I'm glad you took the starting grid there, mate. There's a lot of names in there I'm not familiar with, so that was good. But yeah, the cars look fantastic. Great looking grid of cars here. The teams have done a fantastic job on the paints. And just coming through the Porsche curves here now, getting set for the start. And yeah, it should be good. Can't wait.
Should be an absolutely awesome race. Miguel starts on the pole position for Delta Racing in the Ferrari. The Ferraris are dominant here at Le Mans, and we see that, but they have a lot of 4, actually, angry Porsches just behind them. Then we get to the first BMW of Andrew Karen, and then there is no Fords in the field tonight. It's sad to see that there is no Ford, because I do love the Ford. And then the GTD class pretty much overrun with Mercedes, with a few Ferraris sprinkled in and a few Audis as well, actually, to be exact. There's 2 Audis in the field tonight over there. So we'll kind of get you more in-depth look at your GTD class as the night goes on. We have 90 minutes of nonstop action live here on Apex Racing TV, and we're just about to get ready to go the third round of the Ricmotech World GT Challenge Series. Miguel Argledo and Aero Nam will lead them through the final two corners. Through the Ford chicane they go. And who will go first? Will it be the Team Bushfink driver or will it be the Delta Racing car? They go green flag racing here in Le Mans.
Looks like a clean start. The chicane's always a bit difficult trying to tiptoe through there in the pace lap, but everyone's done a great job so far.
Everyone keeps it clean so far. We have a couple drivers swapping positions just a little bit further back. That's one driver spun around, and I think that is going to be Chris Thorman. There's a couple drivers stopped. There's the BMW. It's number 36 of Lowski Audio. And then Chris Thorman was the one who got into the back of him. But let's jump and let's go GT3 racing here. Scott Ramler will start them off. They're going to go single file, 2x2 actually down the front straightaway. And they're going to wait for that green flag to fly. And they're still waiting here. And there go. The GTD class gets underway.
Looks like 3 wide here already through the Dunlop curve. Might have been a longer pause than what they anticipated there from race control. We'll see how they go through the chicane here.
Everyone keeps it clean. Let's jump back to your GTLM battle. You can see this is really a battle going on right now. They're all single file. And then we jump back a little bit farther, and there is some 2x2 action as they run their way through the chicane. But definitely focus here tonight on your GTD class. This should be an amazing class. New BOP just came out for this class, so that will kind of throw a little bit of a wrench maybe into some of the drivers' plans and some of the things that they may have practiced coming into this with the new iRacing BOP changes. That's one driver already slowed down this back straight. Who was that? I think that was Travis Davis.
Yeah, it looks like it might have been a slowdown from the chicane. It's definitely costing quite a few spots along the Marsan straight here.
Definitely a few spots were cost there. Right now, Pascal Iannucci under pressure from Andrew Karen. Karen will get the move done in that RSR Esports car quite easily, then moves up into the 6th position. The Ferrari is definitely dominant here on the straight lines, but the Porsche has the handling through the Porsche curves and through all the tight twisty stuff, really. So who will it be that walks out on top here tonight? Will it be one of your normal drivers who are up front, such as Aero Nam, Elvis Rankin, Andrew Karen, Pascal Iannucci, or is it going to be someone else we haven't seen before? Miguel Argredo. I haven't seen him before in the field, so I think that he has got a good chance to win here tonight. He's definitely quick, so he definitely is looking to take the fight to the top few drivers. Let's jump back to your GT3 battle. You can see they're 2x2, and I think that they're 3 or even 4 wide just behind them. Look at this battle, 3 wide almost.
There's a nice mix of cars in this little battle here as well. You got the Mercedes up front and an Audi. A few Ferraris in there too, so a good mix. Oh, and we've got a spinner on the exit of the corner there on the inside.
Oh, that's your pole sitter, Scott Ramler.
Oh, he won't be too happy about that. Hopefully there wasn't any contact and he doesn't have any damage. We might be able to jump back at that at some point and see if that was self-inflicted or not.
So we'll definitely try to have a look at that. We will we'll get that up for you just as we kind of conclude the first lap. But I think the first lap has pretty much been concluded for some of the drivers, as they're actually just about to head through the Ford chicane. So you're currently your top 5 is Miguel Argredo. Then it'll be Aero Nam in 2nd, Elvis Rankin in 3rd, William Laster 4th, and Mike Dam. That's going to round out your top 5 right now in your GTLM class. Then let's continue to watch here for your GTD class. Let's see how they are going to come across the line. Jim List, who started in 5th position, is already up into, what is that? That's into the lead Jim List is already up to. So Jim List already up to the lead. Didn't quite expect it there for just a second. I had to second guess myself.
That's an aggressive first lap, especially considering that this is an endurance event, but I guess he's obviously comfortable with his strategy. He wants to just get out the front, get into clean air, which is never a bad thing.
Definitely not a bad thing at all. Let's watch on this wonderful cam. Absolutely love the nose cam here. So we'll definitely try and get some more nose cam shots for you here tonight. Just shows a little bit of the challenge that this Le Mans circuit has with the big curbs to small curbs and some off-camber corners. This track really has just about everything. Let's look at this. Andrew Karen already looking to make up another position. Right now, he almost makes it 2 1/4, but William Laster blocks him off nicely there. Down into the braking zone, but Karen looks to have the run here. Let's see. Let's ride on board with him.
Yeah, he's just got through there. And the Porsche files in back behind him line to try and get the toe. And there's always a chance you can attack again with this long straight. We'll see if he can make a move. No, he's not close enough here. And Karen closes up even closer on Rankin in the braking area there. So he's going to try and get a toe ready for the Marsan kink.
Yes, down into Mulsanne corner. This is a very difficult corner because you're braking while you're still turning. It's one of the interesting points, and they're going to go 3 wide actually down into Mulsanne corner. 3 wide now. Here at the Ricmotech GT Challenge. I don't know if I would get that aggressive here on just lap 2, but these drivers definitely looking to. And William Laster is the one who walks out the best of it. Andrew Karen, the one who walks out the worst. And Mike Dam's also looking to make up a position as well. He's got his teammate just behind him, who I'm sure is going to work with him here. But right now, Miguel Arcredo is actually out to a 1.4 second lead. But let's jump back to this battle. This battle is definitely still not over.
Yeah, it's surprising to see a bit of bumping and grinding so early in the race. They're getting quite aggressive, but it's allowing the front two to get away a little bit at the moment. So this battle here will need to sort of settle down a bit if they want to try and claw back up, work together a little bit. At this stage of the race, some of these drivers, now that they've settled down into a rhythm a little bit, they might start thinking about how they are on fuel as well, whether they want to try and attack and get track position now, or conserve a bit and try and save some time in the pits later on. So it'll be interesting to see how that strategy plays out.
Yeah, it'll definitely be interesting to see for those drivers if they do try, like you said, try, push on and get up to a little bit of track position, or if they just kind of stay in behind and use the draft to their advantage, and to be able to close up that way and save maybe a bit of fuel in the draft. Because I've seen a lot of drivers do that in the past, and it's definitely not a bad strategy. It seems to work for a lot of them. But Tyler Shiflett, though, while we were away looking at that GTE battle, has now taken the lead in the GTD class. Jim List down to second. Or Jim List, sorry. Yes, Jim List down to second. Tyler Shiflett up into the lead. So, great job from him to take the lead this early on. Jim List is now on the back foot, having to push on forward. So, we'll see how he responds to that. I'm sure he will be just fine and just as quick down in second place. If not, maybe be able to save a bit of fuel and be able to get himself track position that way. Because you always know that leading is usually a lot more difficult than running in second. You use up a lot more fuel and a lot more tires. So Jim List can kind of save a bit of tires and save a bit of fuel. Who's to say that he isn't going to be right there coming the end of the race?
Yeah, that's correct. I just thought I'd have a look on the timing screen to see how Ramler was faring after his spin earlier. He was our GTD pole sitter. Looks like he's down 8 spots, so yeah, he's still got a bit of work to do. He is closing on the car in front though, so he's chasing Brandon Whitworth there at the moment.
Speaking of that, let's actually jump back to how he spun, and just comes across the nose there, the number 23. That was Ian Gagon Renault, so just comes across the nose there of Renault and is not able to save that one. But yeah, just a little bit too little room given, being that it is the first lap. I think I would have probably given a bit more room, but it's difficult to say because you do have very limited visibility in the cockpit. So who's to say whose fault that actually was? That is up to race control to decide. But obviously, I haven't seen anything thus far, so I don't think that they're too worried about it.
Yeah, from my side, it looked like there might have even been just a touch of netcode involved with that too. So it will be interesting to see how race control sort of decide on that one.
And look at this battle. They're still battling here in GTD. Jim List is about to lose another position, and that is to Clint Vigas, who is now going to slot up into the third position. Tyler Gualmente is also going to slot up in, and Ian Gaigon Renault is also going to go through as well. So they are all going to go past Jim List. So I'm kind of wondering, does Jim List have any issues right now?
Yeah, it doesn't look like he's got any aero damage I can see, but he may have just got a bad exit from the previous chicane, because the exits are just so important running onto the long straights here, and if you don't get one and the other guys have the toe, it's in the draft, it's just, yeah, you're a sitting duck, really.
That is definitely true. As I look at this battle, Kevin Ford and Rafael Sosa. Sosa trying it around the outside here. Kevin Ford, I think he's just going to get that move done quite easily then down the next Mulsanne straightaway. And down that great long double back straightaway. Really, we have two super long really three long straightaways back to back here at Le Mans. So it is kind of a challenge if your car does not have the best straight line speed, or you got to set up more tuned for the Porsche curbs. You're going to really struggle down those long straightaways to gain any sort of track position. I almost wonder if that's what happened to Mike Damas. Look at this. There's William Laster, I believe. Actually, no, that is Pascalian. No, Elvis Rankin, sorry. Elvis Rankin was slow. Cost Pascalianucci a bit of time there. Mike Dam was able to get about a second away from them. So now his next target is to chase down William Laster just ahead. So Mike Dam now sets his eyes on Laster ahead, and that is the third position that he is chasing.
Yeah, so the two Ferraris have got themselves a nice little gap out the front there now, but then we've got the four Porsches all following each other, and it looks like that the little battles earlier have let the front two get away, so we'll have to see how that plays out, if they can start to close that down when they settle down, or if they can sort of do something fuel strategy wise to get themselves back into play.
Definitely be interesting if they do try anything with the fuel strategy, because like we said, just about one pit stop is going to be required. So really there isn't a whole lot that they can do unless they do about a bunch of fuel saving. But the area that I want to focus on is the GTD strategy, where they may have to make 2 pit stops, but they are very close whether they have to make 2 or 1. So that is the part that I'm going to be most interested in, most keeping my eye out for, let's say, is on their strategies, and whether they go for the 2-stop or if they kind of push the limits and try the 1-stop strategy. If they do, then they are going to have to be careful with their fuel. But it's definitely not impossible. That is at least what I got from the notes that I received from the series. We're also going to see this race, I think, end up in the night, as it is a sunset race. And we're just 13 minutes now into the race, and we can already see the sun has well and truly set. Is starting to set, at least, over this Le Mans countryside.
Yeah, I'm not sure if the new BOP changes to the GTD cars have changed the fuel consumption much at all. From my experience previously, the Ferrari has probably been one of the most least thirsty when it comes to fuel. They've usually been able to stretch out an extra lap on most tracks in that car without having to change fuel maps. So it's yeah, be interesting to see if they can still get an extra lap. Although around such a long circuit like this, it is much more of a challenge to get an extra lap because yeah, you just got such a long lap to get around.
Yeah, you definitely have a long lap. You've really got to save up nearly 3 or 4 laps at another circuit to get a lap at this circuit. So it's definitely going to be interesting, and it's definitely going to be difficult with a lot of these GT3 having 3 fuel maps to run, 1, 2, and 3. 1 being the fastest, 3 being the slowest. So even if you switch it up into fuel map 2, a lot of times you're losing a lot more time than if you were in fuel map 1. So
Hopkins using the draft here, he got a great exit, and he's been able to make that move. Interesting to see if he can keep it along the next straightaway though.
Keep an eye there.
Well, he runs a little wide. Yeah, he ran a little bit wide on the exit there. It might give Shiflett a chance to get this back here. You can see he's closing on the interval. Hopkins goes defensive, takes a tighter line. Both drivers kiss the apex very nicely there, and we'll see Hopkins actually managed to take out a couple of tenths there. So yeah, really good under brakes.
Yeah, and these two are on the same. They are driving the same car. They're both in the Mercedes GT3 cars, so there won't be any advantage to be gained versus maybe the Audi, which may have just a bit better handling than the Mercedes. Some may argue that, but which may just have a little bit of change. But this is definitely not the case between those cars. So these two are going to stay in line here for another lap. The GTD class is starting to spread out a bit, but Jack Wells and Lee Overton are going to go side by side. Sorry, that's Scott Ramler. Ramler, who started on the pole position, works his way back up into the 9th spot overall in his class. So Ramler, after an absolutely terrible first lap, dropping from the lead all the way back into last, now is going to move himself back into the 9th place and now looks to set his sights on Derek Holland.
Yeah, it looked like Wells was trying to have another look at him to get that position back heading into Indianapolis there, but thankfully he backed out of it because I didn't think it was going to end well if he threw it down the inside there.
And all the classes start to spread out just a bit here. We'll kind of take a look back at your GT Le Mans battle as they all head down the Mulsanne straight over there. You can see just the long train of GT cars that we have going here. These guys, they are a little bit starting to spread out, and that's kind of the nature of Le Mans. Everyone really does start to spread out. You're not seeing a whole bunch of side-by-side action here, but it does still provide some great racing, and it's an amazing endurance track. Definitely one of the places where we needed to put a 90-minute endurance race on. We're only 16 minutes, almost 17 minutes into this race. There's still a lot of racing here left to go for all the drivers, and Travis Schwenke is right up on the back of Andrew Caron. Is he going to look to the inside? He is going to think about it, but I don't think he's going to have the straight line speed to actually pull out and get up alongside Caron unless he sends one down the inside into the second Mulsanne chicane, which he doesn't. But Andrew Caron will now hold on to the position for that little bit longer.
I'm not sure what's happened with Andrew Caron there. I think he was up a couple positions earlier, and he's dropped back down to 8th now. He's down one spot from where he started in 7th, so maybe his car's just not performing as well in a straight line as some of the others. Some other cars might have trimmed the wings down a little bit more than he has, or something. I'm not sure.
Yeah, we'll kind of have to keep an eye on him. I'll try and get an onboard video with him for the Porsche curves, just to kind of see if he does close up through the Porsche curves, and that would kind of let us know whether he is kind of going for more of a top speed setup or more of that the cornering speed. Which is definitely important here at Le Mans for the lap time, because if you can't get through the Porsche curves, then it doesn't mean anything down the Mulsanne straights. But if you can just trim it out just perfectly, where you cannot lose too much down the Mulsannes, but you can gain that time through the tight and twisty bits, which I think is what Andrew Caron is going for, but also Travis Schwenke is very fast behind him.
So yeah, here we go. We're heading down towards Porsche curves now. We'll see how the gap between these two develops through here. See Schwenke's about half a second behind. Looks like he's closing a little bit through the Porsche curve section.
And we'll quickly, just as you can see that the sun is definitely quickly setting here over the Le Mans circuit, and I think that's also going to kind of reduce a bit of the track temperature.
Oh, Caron.
As Andrew Caron is off and into the wall. Caron off and into the wall. It's so easy to lose it there, and he has done it. We'll quickly go ahead and grab a replay. Let's grab a replay. Let's go on board here with Andrew Caron.
It looks like the pressure from behind might have just been trying to break a little. Oh, he got unsettled on the curve on the way in. Yeah. Just took too much of that curb.
That little bit of curb is all that it takes, really, and Andrew Caron's actually towed back to the pit lane. So that little bit of curb, though, that's all it takes to get the car unsettled and send it flying into that inside wall. So that is very, very difficult for him. That's going to not be the way he's going to want to end his night. Andrew Karen, who's usually so fast whenever he's out on the racetrack. He was so fast last time out in Detroit at Belle Isle, and now he is out of the race here in Le Mans. His teammates are also out. Caden Bien, his teammate in RSR Esports as well, is out. I missed that one completely. We'll try and get a replay of that as well if I can cue that up. But Mike Dam is all over the back of David Payton. As just quickly, I'm going to look for a replay here. What happened to Caden Bien? Here it is. Let's ride on board with Caden Bien.
Oh, it's not in the same spot, is it?
I don't think so. I think that this is just Caden coming into the pit lane. So I'll try and cue up the correct replay here for you in just a few moments' time. I think I may have found the correct replay. Let's see if this is the correct replay, or if he already has the damage. Okay, he already has the damage. So I'm going to continue to go through replays until I find the correct one. But just for right now, we'll kind of keep an eye on this battle here for fourth place. Also, the battle for the lead is coming down. Miguel Arcrudo is now out, is still out in the lead. He's got about a 9/10 of a second lead over Aeronam. So we'll kind of keep an eye on that one, and we'll also keep an eye here on this battle to see how this works as well. So we'll just kind of keep an eye on this battle here between the D2D Esports driver and the Cryptology Racing orange car of Mike Dam and David Payton. So this battle should get quite tasty here in just a few minutes because Mike Dam is really closing in quickly.
Yes, just on the timing screen, there's just thought it was worth giving a shout out to Humberto Roca in the Porsche in the GTLM class. He's 19 places up on his starting position. That's quite a handy first section of the race. So yeah, just 22 minutes and he's made up almost a position every minute. So that's an impressive start.
That really is an impressive start to the race there. He is definitely quick right now. Last lap, he set a 3:48.8, and the fastest time is a 3:48.0. So he's only 8/10 off the fastest time. Currently set by William Laster in the F4H racing car. Currently running in third place and sporting a very nice livery. I do think that livery fits that Porsche just perfectly. So props to him, for my vote at least, for one of the best liveries in the field.
Yeah,
currently sitting in fourth place, or third place actually. He's definitely quick.
And I'm sure the viewers are appreciating the effort that the guys have put in with the spotter's guide down the bottom there. You can see the cars come up on the overlay there too. So yeah, they look fantastic. So congrats to everyone for putting in the effort for that.
They really have done an amazing job there, just to kind of let you know what the cars look like and who your favorite drivers are and what their cars look like. If you just can't quite make it out so much on the racetrack, you can just look there by their name, and the little car overlay comes up. So I do really, really like that. It's a very nice addition to the series. Now, I'm kind of sad to see some of the pictures go, because let's just say we had some amazing pictures from the drivers that they had uploaded. In particular, Kevin Ford's, which sadly I don't think you ever got to see, but it was definitely amazing.
Yeah, it's always nice when the drivers can show a bit of personality, and the fans can get to follow them a little more. But I guess the individual paints are still a way that they can express that and help the sponsors out too. So Dam's still trying to work away at pattern here. He didn't get such a great exit there. Lost a little bit of time in the exit, and just picking it back up in the draft. It's closing very slowly though. Doesn't look like he's able to capitalize on this straight here. Patton doing a great job at absorbing the pressure. Really good under brakes there, tidy exit. He's making it very difficult for Dan to make some inroads on that gap there. So he pulled it out again on the exit. It's only in the draft that the Porsche is able to close up.
So just getting some messages here from the race control. Car 63 has gotten a warning for an unsafe re-entry to the circuit. So car 63, that is Brian Cartier in the Phoenix racing car. He has gotten an unsafe re-entry. I'm not quite sure what that one was for. And I don't think I'm going to be able to get a replay of that because I don't think that that's going to come up on the timing software as anything significant. So, but he has a warning right now, so he's got to be careful with doing that anymore because he will get a penalty for that from the live admins here tonight as they are closely watching these drivers.
Just it's probably worth jumping back to the lead battle for GTD at the moment. We've got looks like a great battle between Gagnon Renaud and Hopkins. Let's see, he's just within half a second. The Mercedes are filling the top 3 positions in that class at the moment. Within about 2 seconds of each other. And then we've got looks like about a 5-second gap back to the first of the Audis.
Yeah, so the first of the Audi drivers, which is Tyler Galamente, who's just now exiting that corner. So right now, these Mercedes currently locks out the top 3 positions. Nice job to Mercedes to do that. Jim List and Clint Vigas. Clint Vigas just ahead of Jim List here. Jim List, though, in the slipstream in that much smaller profile Ferrari. So he should be able to get a nice slipstream down this long straightaway. He's going to look to the inside into Indianapolis, and he will get the move done. Will be Clint Vigas, though. He'll back out before they get down to Indianapolis, which is probably the smarter of the decisions because sending it down the inside of Indianapolis, or going 2x2 into Indianapolis, is definitely not the smartest decision to make.
Yeah, that's great driving by both of them there. It's a long race, but we're still just under half an hour in with more than an hour left, so you don't want to be doing anything too silly at this point.
So right now, though, it is still Miguela Arcrudo who will lead out this one. Sorry for pronouncing your name incorrectly, Miguel. For such a long time, I'm not very good with the pronunciation of names. And it's Aerodom in second with William Laster in third. That is your top 3 for your GTLM class. So we'll just continue to watch this battle as I'm going to try to pull up the points here and kind of see who is going to fall where after this race, because we know, from what I believe, a few championship competitors have had issues, and I think that was Andrew Herron and Caden Bien. I think the 2 RSR Esports were up top, and towards the top at least in the championship. So I'm going to just try and get those up and kind of see where everything's going to fall, kind of get a little bit of insight on where everything's going to fall after this round.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to talk to Miguel afterwards if we get the chance to. If he continues this form, because the gap was down quite a bit when we checked in with the lead battle before, but he's now pulled out about 1.8, 1.9 seconds on Euro Nom. So whether he was just trying to conserve fuel a little bit while he was out in the lead there for a while, but then he might have decided to push on a little bit more when the gap came down. I'm not sure. Well, he's had a little bit of a moment there on the exit of Indianapolis. Yeah, small mistake. So, and took a little bit too much curb on the inside of Arnage, so not such a great exit there. So that gap's actually going to come down to a second now. So yeah, it just goes to show it's all the drivers are pushing hard to maintain this pace.
And the drivers are definitely working hard. You really can't leave anything on the table here, because if you do, then someone else is not, and they're going to capitalize on you. So that just shows he's pushing very, very hard. The gap is now down to 1 second. So just as we were saying how much of a gap he's pulled out, he's now dropped the gap back down to a second. But he still continues to pull it away, actually. He just left Aaron on by a tenth there, pulled away on him. But William Laster, actually, is starting to close up on him.
Yeah, he's made good progress over the last 10 minutes or so, and Patton and Dam are still having that same battle. The gap just consistently stays the same, but it looks like they've been able to make some small inroads as well. So yeah, and you can see on the lap times there, Dam's just done a 48.5 as well as Patton. So yeah, they're a little bit faster than the top three at the moment.
They're definitely faster than the top three. But we've got some updates for you here. So, championship competitors right now are on two totally opposite ends of the spectrum. Caden Bien is out of this race, and Aeronam is currently sitting in second. So I think Aeronam knows that he really can't afford to push too hard and end up wrecking, because if he continues as he is, he will take the lead of the championship after this round. Another driver who was way up in the championship, I think he was around in the 5th position, is Andrew Caron. He is also out of this race. So two drivers that were really far up in the championship are now out of this race. That's going to cost them huge when it comes down to the points tally at the end of the season. And then for your GT lab drivers, I'll try to get those up here in just a few moments' time. But that is your current championship kind of overview as it looks right now. I don't have exact numbers for you, but we will get those after the race, after the drivers finish out. We'll kind of get out where the drivers will be before bonus points.
Laster is still applying the pressure here, and if he gets much closer with that championship in mind, Aeronom, he may consider letting Laster through and not putting up too much of a fight if it gets too close, because yeah, it's sometimes, especially with endurance events, you got to play the long game and think of the championship. But for now, it looks like he's happy to try and keep Laster behind him.
It is definitely important for him to keep them behind. So, really important that happens for him. Especially if Aeronam can finish up in second, and his nearest competitor will finish down in last. That will immediately, I think, put Aeronam up into the lead of the championship. So, that is definitely going to be an interesting tactic that he has to think about as this race goes on. Does he want to put his car into almost a dangerous position sometimes in order to gain that track position and maybe be able to win this race? Or does he kind of want to think of the long game and think of the championship? We know Aeronam is a multi-time champion in the sports car series, so I know he has a lot of experience under his belt. I'd be very interested to see if he does. What his decision is, whether he decides to push on and go for that overall win, or if he's kind of thinking about the championship. But knowing Aeronam, he's going to go for every race win that he can get.
So yeah, it's still very close here at the top of the GTD field. Gagnon, Renaud and Hopkins are still trading hundreds and thousands of seconds in this battle for the lead. If I was Hopkins, I probably wouldn't be too unhappy with just sitting in behind here and perhaps trying to save a little bit of fuel. We've got a 2.7 second gap back to Shiflet, so he's not under any pressure, immediate pressure for position. And it's looking unlikely if he did get past, he'd be able to pull a significant gap. But having said that, he's having a look on the run down to Indianapolis. Decides against it. So yeah, just personally, that's what I'd be trying to do, is just trying to minimize my stationary time in the pits at the moment, and then try and gain that position that way.
Which we know that little bit of stationary time in the pits can mean a lot, because you're not just stationary for another second, you're also that much longer that you are at no speed or slow down the pit lane. So that little bit of time can make up a lot of difference. A second in the pit stop and the actual stop can make maybe 3 or 4 seconds on the track. So, you know, that's something for the drivers to think about. As Raymond Bader is into the pit lane, I think that he had a bit of an incident which caused him to go into the pit lane. But I'll try and grab that one for you. Or did he just go in on his own power? Actually, he just got in on his own power, so maybe he's trying this early pit stop here, which I don't. It's just kind of early, actually, for a pit stop. But speaking of that, according to the notes, they should be coming in just about now.
Yeah, it looks like the window opens at around that 30-35 minute stage. We are 36 minutes into the race, so for the GTLM cars, that looks about right. Surprised we haven't seen any GTD cars make their way through the lane yet.
Yeah, just as you said, I actually am quite surprised. Maybe they're trying to go for that one-stop strategy. I wouldn't put it past any of the GTLM guys to do. Because, I mean, if they can run to about 45 minutes into this race, which would be about another 9 minutes from now, they really could. They could actually easily do a one-stop strategy. They just have to do another 45-minute stint to be able to get to the end, because I think taking 2 stops here is going to cost you far too much time than possibly chucking it up into Fuel Mix 2, and just kind of running it that way would cost you. So as the sun winds down and everything else winds down here in this race, the drivers start to extend the gaps out. We are starting to get into the nighttime here at Le Mans. Try to get some time here for you right now. Let's try and take a look at the current weather conditions. It is currently 19.6 GMT. It's currently 19.6 in sim time, so that is your current time for the drivers. Track conditions haven't changed much at all. If anything, we've actually lost a bit of wind on the circuit, but that's just about it. So everything's pretty much staying the same here for your drivers as Alastair really closes in on Aero Nom. Will he try and make a move here through the Porsche curves?
Yeah, it's perfect conditions for racing at the moment, with those nice cold temperatures and just standing in a cool down a little bit more. So the guys will definitely be attacking, and they probably won't have to worry about conserving tyres too much. As we see a GTD car going into the lane there.
And that was, and I can't actually tell you who that was, that just went down onto the lane. I think that was one of the lapped GTD cars. I think that was one of yours. That was actually Michael Hilliard, sorry. So Michael Hilliard makes his way in to the pit lane now as the GTLMs start to work their way through GTD traffic. And we'll try and just get it up here on the track map for you so that you can see where everyone is as far as their class settings go.
So at 38 minutes, that's a very interesting time for us to see the GTD cars start making stops, because yeah, at that kind of timing, they'd be looking at probably a splash at the end of the race to get it home.
I think that you are correct. I think that that would cause them to have to make 2 pit stops. But that may be the strategy that some drivers are thinking that they have to do. Maybe if they're a little bit more thunder-footed, or they are a bit more, or they know that they're a little bit more heavy on the fuel consumption. They may just kind of know that they have to make 2 stops, and they just kind of want to do the most ideal strategy, which would be probably pitting around this 40-minute mark. So that you do just have to make a splash at the end. So it all depends really on the drivers here.
Yeah, that could have been, you can see the Sanctionet Sentinelli. He was just in the lane as well. So yeah, we're starting to see the stop cycle through for GTLM as well.
Stops are already starting to happen here.
Just on the timing screen a moment ago, George Vick apparently has had an incident.
Let's take a look here at what happened here to Georgie Fike. So he's running through the Ford chicane. It wouldn't be surprised to me if he did have a little bit of an incident. Yes, it's very easy to lose it there, and he does a nice job, though, to keep it out of the inside wall, because that is where a lot of times a lot of drivers, whenever they have that incident, it's just a bit of a spin and into the inside wall. So that is nice job from him to save that. Now we have two battles starting up here on the side of the GTLM. William Laster is closing in heavily here on Aeronam. And right now, they're way off your leader. So this is really just a battle for supremacy between these two at this point. But still really anything can happen. We're not even halfway through this race yet. The race at halfway point is still 5 minutes away. So these drivers still very much have a lot of racing left to do, and a lot of time and positions that can be still made up. So I think that Laster knows that, and I think he wants to get up into second place if he can and try to close down your race leader, which is right now absolutely stretching away the gap from these two.
Yeah, Nom's definitely had some distraction in the mirrors there, so our leader, Al Crudo, will definitely be happy to see these two battling. He's just been able to get a bit more relaxed out front. Having said that though, Patton and Dam are still being able to close on the lead group, so the top five, gradually it's sort of concertinaing up and they're getting close. You can see all 5 cars in the shot there now, so it's yeah, shaping up to be an interesting battle, as these guys must be approaching pit stops very soon. Oh, you can see Nom gets really aggressive on the curb on the exit of the Ford chicane there. Unsettles the car a little bit. Doesn't quite give Laster the chance to make a move on the short straight here before the Dunlop. But yeah, you can see potentially some mistakes starting to creep in.
Which that can even just happen from tires, and as the tires start to wear off. But obviously one driver's not having to worry about tire wear, is doing a nice job, and that is Humberto Roca, who currently set the fastest time, and he is up 19 spots. He is the driver that you were talking about in Delta Racing. We haven't really given him much love tonight, but he has just gotten a 47.8 in comparison to the driver ahead of him, Elvis Rankin, who's now chasing, who got a 49.2. So if that just kind of lets you know the pace difference between those two. Elvis Rankin's definitely a very quick driver, and that just kind of shows what Roca, the kind of pace that he has right now, even over your race leader. He has nearly 0.6 of a second faster than your race leader right now. So amazing job from them. Amazing job from him to be able to go that fast this point into the race, because we know that the tires are wearing off here.
Yeah, that's a very impressive lap from Roca there, because he's had to make up a lot of, he's probably had to use his tyres quite a bit to get through the field as far as he has, and he hasn't made a stop yet. He's still on those tyres that he started the race with, so to be able to pull out that 47, that's fantastic driving.
Yeah, and from what I've gotten, at least from the notes, I don't think that we will see any pit stops here. We won't see any tire changes here tonight during the pit stop. So the drivers may take 2 tires, but most likely they will not take any tires and will run these same tires throughout the entirety of the race, which isn't uncommon. We do see that in endurance racing, with drivers taking even 2 and maybe even 3 hours worth of racing on a set of tires. But the drivers definitely are going to be struggling with a bit of grip after that one long 1.5 hour stint. And right now, though, Aeronam and William Laster getting together here and really staying in line is actually caused them to catch up to your race leader.
Yeah, you can see Laster, he's going to have a look at the kink here. Gets to the inside as they come down to approach Indianapolis. he makes the move. Again, yeah, Nom just playing it pretty safe there. He didn't want to get caught up in anything that could damage his championship hopes. It's still, we're only about halfway through the event, so there's still a long way to go. He might be able to get that position back yet.
Yeah, look at this driver right here, Humberto Roca, up 20 positions from his starting spot, which is incredible to me. That he can go from 27th up to 7th, and he has the fastest lap of the race right now. So really, really impressive stuff from him. But we'll try and see here if your race leader jumps into the pit lane this time. But I don't think he will. I think he is going to continue to stay out and kind of go for that little bit longer and take a little bit less fuel. But as you can see, he gets a very kind of a sideways moment there, heading through that very fast left-hander, and he is going to dive into the pit lane. So your leader down onto pit lane. William Laster in second, third into pit lane as well. David Payton, Mike Dam is going to follow him in suit. Will Pascal Iannucci come in as well? Yes, he will. So all the drivers right now inside of the top 6 are down onto pit lane.
Yeah, this will be interesting to see how this plays out. You can see the cars continue to file in. Yeah, how much fuel they've been able to conserve, and also any potential damage they may have got from attacking the curbs a little bit too aggressively, which can happen at this track. So that could have an effect on the stationary time in these stops too.
Could definitely have an effect on them, so they really do have to kind of keep in mind that, you know, if it may not be worth taking every last bit of those optional repairs or whatever, they may just have to pick and choose on what they take and whether they take tires or not. And as you can see, a lot of drivers down onto pit lane here.
12,
a couple of drivers
cars along the lane.
A couple of drivers, though, going up onto the jacks, and a couple of drivers aren't, and your leader's out. William Laster follows him just behind, so Laster has jumped about a 2-second gap to now putting it into about half a second to your race leader.
Yeah, he's definitely gained during that pit stop cycle there. So Alcruda is gonna, he's had a quite relaxed last sort of 20 minutes or so, and now he's gonna start to have to look in his mirrors a little bit more, perhaps, to see how this shapes up. But the rest of the cars are starting to cycle off the lane.
And we know how quick William Laster is. He's definitely not a slow driver by any stretch. So he really does have a chance here to be able to win this race. Aero Nom down in third is going to kind of be sitting there wondering why. Maybe it's a difference in the Porsche versus the Ferrari pit stops, because I do know that some of the cars will have a little bit faster pit stop time, but won't be as fast down the straights, or they will do that to make up for their actual pace within the cars. So we'll kind of have to see how the race shapes up towards the end there for William Laster, or if he took a little bit less fuel, and that's going to kind of come around to bite him. Also, your GT3 cars into the pit lane as well. We really haven't shown much of the GT3 class here, so that is it's a great battle. It's been a good battle here tonight, so we'll kind of have to really show a little bit more here on this last bit of the race. Jack Wells, though, decides to stay out in the Beast Racing car. Scott Ramler, who has a very interesting angle into his pit box, will not come out in the lead, as he wasn't in the lead, but Ian Gagon Renault is going to come out into the lead with Brock Hopkins in second. They will resume as they were with Tyler Schifflin second, and I think that's going to be Scott Ramler coming out. Actually, no, Lee Overton is going to beat him out of the box, and it's going to be Lee Overton. No, sorry, Lee Overton goes into his box, just as I thought there, and Ramler will go out of the pit lane, and then it will be Tyler Guamente, who will come out in, who I think is going to come out there in the 6th spot, so 5th spot, actually, once Jack Wells comes into the box. So he is in provisional 5th place, and right now, Ian Gagon Renault has the provisional lead. And I don't know who is that. That's Brock Hopkins. He is reset back to the pit lane. He's binned it into the wall.
Wow, that's big. He was right up there. Oh, yeah, he's lost the rear heading That's very unfortunate. He's been fighting at the top of that class all race, and that's a
Oh,
big impact.
very
Look,
hard
yeah,
impact there.
looks like he was stuck in the tyre wall there, and that's a very long tow from that part of the track. So that's his race over pretty much.
I believe that will be his race effectively over here if he even is able to get back out. He may not even try to get back out on the racetrack and try and resume. But right now, it is Ian Gagon Renault, who is your Alpine Sim Sport driver, currently in the provisional race lead once Jack Wells comes down onto pit lane. But right now, he's doing an amazing job, really. He's now got no pressure from behind as Tyler Shiflett is 7 seconds back. So Ian Gagon Renault, pretty much at this point, can almost cruise his way onto a race victory. He doesn't have to do anything special and really just has to get the fuel all the way to the end of the race, which I don't think should be a problem for him, considering he did go about 48 minutes on that fuel stop. So he shouldn't have any issues getting that car to the end here in this race.
Yeah, that crash for Hopkins has definitely taken the pressure off Gagnon Renault, so should be able to have quite a relaxed second half of the race now. But sometimes that can be it's just as challenging to do because it's easy to lose your focus. You still need to maintain a rhythm, and yeah, when you're not fighting with another car for quite a extended period of time like this, then it's still easy for the mistakes to creep in. So
yeah, it really is easy for the mistakes to creep in. And just as you said though, like you can't lose your focus because if you do make a mistake and you do hit the wall or something like that, then that could spell disaster for your race. So you really do have to be careful and have to continue to push on and continue your pace. And you just can't rely on being safe alone.
would be interesting to know if Hopkins changed tyres during that pit stop at all, or whether that was just the tyres cooled down quite a lot with these temps, just being stationary for that long in the stop. Because it did look like it was a tyre issue on the exit of the S's there. So just over halfway. One thing that's probably worth mentioning is the bonus points that the drivers can achieve in this championship. And just having a look at the off-track numbers, the drivers up towards the front at this stage are probably all on track to get bonus points. If they have below 6, I believe it is. You can correct me if I'm wrong there, Tyler. I think it's 6. They get a bonus point if they're below that. There are drivers that are up at 12 and 7 and that. So some of the drivers are already going to forfeit that opportunity for that bonus point. And there's also the point for fastest lap, which I believe Humberto Rocca will still hold that at the moment.
And just this, I think this is going to be a nice time here to go ahead and switch over to a commercial break. To go ahead and give a nice shout out to all the sponsors here of the Ricmotech Sports Car Series. So a lot of people make this series happen. Well, let's go ahead and give them a quick shout out.
Are you a fan of the Ricmotech sports car series? Now is your chance to show off your favorite sim racing series by visiting our online store. With clothing and apparel for women and men in all sizes, merchandise and gift items like coffee mugs, laptop skins, mouse pads, and many more items to display your passion for sports car sim racing. Visit us today at ExtremeMotorsports99.com and click on the online store button. Thank you for watching and supporting the Ricmotech sports car series.
Welcome back to Apex Racing TV, and welcome back to the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech World, the GT Challenge Series here from Le Mans. And the battle for your lead has definitely spiced up. William Laster passed Miguel Arcrudo for the lead, and then Arcrudo was actually able to get it back as well. So we'll kind of just watch here and give you a very no commentary replay there. And actually, there was how the pass happened. I think it was a bit of a slowdown there for Arcrudo, but then he was able to get by just down the Mulsanne straightaway with the draft of that Ferrari. We know how fast a Ferrari is in a straight line speed. Then you add in the draft, and that is how that happened. So we'll kind of get a replay here and just show you exactly how it happened down into the first, down the Mulsanne straight and into the first set of Mulsanne corners. He was actually able to clear him before the Mulsanne corner even came up, I do believe. And yes, he is fully clear before they even get down into the braking zone. Now we're going to jump back live, and the battle is still not going anywhere. Arcrudo leads, but only by 0.4 of a second, and he is really having to push here to be able to pull away from William Laster.
Yeah, we were just mentioning the off-tracks just before we cut to the break, and obviously that slowdown at the exit of Dunlop there, that's another one for the leader. He's on 4 now, so if he wants to retain that bonus point, he'll need to keep it tidy for the rest of the race.
Yeah, he definitely will need to keep it tidy. Let's kind of take a look here at the off-track number for the drivers. So right now, it is only counting 2 for him, which I do not believe is correct. So we'll kind of go off your or what you say from iRacing, because I think that's a bit more accurate than what we're getting here on the live timing software. But the battle for the lead in your GTLM class really hasn't gone anywhere. Quickly, though, let's just kind of talk about your GTD class and how that is kind of shaping up. We'll kind of run through your field there.
Yeah, so after Hopkins' incident before, we've got Ian Gagnon-Renault in the lead of the class. He has a 10-second buffer behind, so no pressure at all. He just needs to just stay focused and bring the car home, really. Second place, we've got Emma Scott Liz Rambler. A bit of a mouthful. Hopefully I've got that right. So he's reasonably comfortable at the moment. He's recently made that position to second over Tyler Schiffler. So he made that pass just not so long ago. He's about 1.3 seconds behind. And we've got Tyler Ricmotech in the Audi in P4. Jim List in the Ferrari in 5th. Eric Bylett, another Ferrari in 6th. Chris Krigotis, is it?
He's actually one of your GTLM drivers, so he's not had the best then.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't spot that. Then we've got Jack Wells from Beast Racing in the Mercedes. Chad Parker, D2Do Motorsports. And another GTLM car is actually in amongst the GTD field there. It's Michael Key. Leah Overton, Downforce Motorsports. Brandon Whitworth. Derek Holland. Robert Brist. Michael Hilliard is the last car that is on the lead lap. And then we've got Brendan Meisler, Brock Hopkins. Obviously, we saw the issues with that car earlier. Quinn Vargas. So yeah, it's all the cars which are no longer really in the race there.
So a lot of cars really have had some issues here, but sorry to cut you off there. We just have a bit of a battle here for what is going to be 5th place. It is between teammates, so I don't think they're going to really do anything too aggressive with each other. So it is Jim List leading over his teammate Eric Violet. And also Russ Ruddick in the Flying Tortoise Motorsports car is starting to come under pressure from Raymond Bader and Edgar Sancinelli as well, just sitting there in behind them. So wouldn't be surprised if Bader tries a move here in the next few laps on Russ Ruddick. They all stay single file as they work their way through Dunlop and through the Mulsanne corner and down onto the next super long back straightaway here at Le Mans. But let's check in on your race leader here for GTLM.
So yeah, we can see William Lasters. He's not letting our crew get away. He's still applying the pressure, even though our crew did get that position back quite easily after his moment before. But yeah, Lasters has been able to make use of the draft and definitely keep within striking distance. You can also see Iro Nom in the 78 Ferrari. He's still only 2 seconds away there. And the gap further back, Patton and Dam are still fighting just like they have all race, but they have dropped off this lead battle significantly after the pit stop cycle compared to where they were. This could be an opportunity for Laster. Our Crudo got a little bit unsettled on the exit of the chicane there, and Laster's got a good toe in the draft here. Will he pull to the inside? He is. He's having a look. Just gets the overlap. And he gets the move done. It goes a little deep. It's going to compromise his exit. And it looks like our Crudo is going to be able to swing back high on the inside. We head down to the Mulsanne kink here, side by side. Our Crudo with the inside line. Laster just falls in behind. Tries to set himself up with a good exit.
And these guys need to really be careful because Aeronam is sitting back there in that 3rd position. He is just watching these two battle and cost each other time. Is just sitting there licking his lips, knowing that he is now going to really be in this battle and be able to battle for the lead here as William Laster goes at Miguel Crudo for a third, actually, maybe the third time just this lap, as he gets very twitchy there under brakes, but gets the car stopped. New race leader, William Laster.
We've also got some GTD traffic just ahead here, so it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. And yeah, Aeronom is he's liking what he's seeing in front of his car at the moment. Good job by the GTD driver there, just moving aside. And Laster with the lead at the moment. So through the Porsche curves, we'll see if he can try to pull a gap, try and break the draft before you get through to the Mulsanne. It would be quite difficult to do. But
yeah, we know how difficult it is to break the draft. I mean, really, you have to be at almost 1.5 seconds to be able to break it, and I don't think he's gonna be able to pull out 1.5 seconds. If he could, then that would just be incredible, but I don't think that he will be able to. But that's exactly what he needed, a mistake from Alcrudo. He needed that mistake. He's now got a 1.9 second lead, almost a 2-second lead, right as I said that it would be very difficult for him to do it. He does it. The William Laster, your new leader by a comfortable margin. Aeronom is actually going to slot up in a second. And he's into the barriers down into turn number 1. He's gone from the race lead to into the tire barriers and costing him a load of time in just the span of 2 corners. And that will be David Payton, who will pick up the 3rd spot.
Wow, this just shows you how quickly things can change. Alcrudo goes from trying to attack Laster and then yeah, a couple of mistakes. Yeah, perhaps tires aren't as comfortable as we thought. Looks like Alcrudo could have been experiencing a lot more tire trouble than the other guys.
Definitely could. We'll try and get another replay here. So let's actually try to get a replay of what happened to Alcrudo. Just get on the brakes a bit. Yeah, he just locked up that rear tire there, which sent him off and into the wall. And then it looks to me as if he has steering damage, and that's why he just pulled off there. Yeah, heavy steering damage to that Ferrari. And that is why he is unable to continue here tonight. So William Laster now leads by a very comfortable margin over Aeronom, but he can't get too comfortable because Aeronom is starting to close that gap down. It's now down to 1.6 seconds. It's already gone down by just about 2 to 3/10 of a second here.
Yeah, that Dunlop curve can be quite a challenge because you want to get on the brakes before the chicane there, but if you apply too much brake pressure while the car's still turning, we've just seen what can happen. You really need to try and get the car straightened up before you apply a lot of brake pressure there.
Yeah, you definitely want to get the car straightened up. And it's so difficult to brake while you're turning. And that corner you almost have to. So I think that's even a tricky corner in general because it's not the most grippy corner. You're kind of deloaded, if that makes sense, when you're going around that corner. So it really is a difficult corner, and you just lock up just a little bit, and you're sent straight into the wall because it's not a very far distance to the wall. So it is really not hard to end up there. So we'll kind of go on board here. We haven't done any onboard shots, really, for the drivers tonight. We're going to go on board with William Laster here through the Porsche curves here this time, so you can hear that beautiful Porsche noise as it screams through the final sector here of Le Mans. So nice last sector there from William Laster. Aaron Nam also slots in ahead of the GT traffic there, your same class traffic. So that nicely gets out of the way for them. That was a number 27, who I believe definitely has not had the best nights. Let's just put it that way. The number 27 of Chad Parker, actually, he's in GTLM, or GTD, sorry. So he gets out of the way for them nicely for the front two leaders. But right now, Aaron Nam, he's really starting to catch William Laster here. He's closed up now to 1.1 seconds. Aeronam, you can't count Aeronam out ever. Even when Aeronam is looking like he cannot win the race, he still can. So, will he pull out something incredible here in the last 20 minutes of this race? I don't know. Is it possible for him to win? Yes. Is it also possible for William Laster to win? Yes. Really, anything is possible at this point for any of the drivers. None of them can really give up. There's still 20 minutes left to go. This is a 90-minute endurance race here for these drivers. One of few that we have on the calendar. Mainly 75-minute races here on the Ricmotech GT Challenge calendar this season. So right now it looks to be William Laster, though, who is in the driver's seat of this race. Currently leads this race. He has a 1.3 second gap, and right now he's just got to hold on to it for the next 20 minutes time.
So just back with the battle for third, I can't help but thinking that he's just been sitting there behind Patton for so much of this race. He's got to know exactly all the spots that Patton could be weak. I'm just thinking he could just be sitting there, just playing his time, just trying to play the strategy right for the closing couple of laps to be in the right spot. Because it sounded this then like he might have even just been lifting a little bit. So it doesn't
It's
look
definitely
like
a possibility, especially with the overspeed. So that's one thing you do have to think about. Him being behind that ever-quick Ferrari. Definitely has to think about the overspeed there, but they're all over the place, really defending here. David Payton is trying to gain every last bit of advantage that he can get over his competitor, Mike Dam. But the gap at the lead here has started to even out. And actually, we need to jump right back to this battle because Mike Dam is now maybe about to look for a move here on David Payton. This is for third place in this race. Is Mike Dam just going to buy his time, or is he going to try and get that Porsche for Cryptology Orange up onto the podium spots? He still has nearly 17 minutes to do it, but that's still not a whole lot of time to get up into third place, especially if he may have to do a bit of battling to get it. Just taking a look here at the lead battle. Aeronam is actually starting to lose time here from William Laster. So Laster is starting to pull out a gap here from the Team Bushfink driver to get himself that little bit more of a buffer as they head through the final. Now we're going to head on to about the final 17 minutes of this race. There's not a whole lot of time left for everyone to start making moves. There is still enough time for a lot of things to happen, but the drivers really need to get a move on if they're going to make any of those last-ditch efforts to get themselves onto the podium or to hold on to a spot.
So I was just having a bit of a look back at the GTD situation. We were looking earlier at the D2D esports teammates of Jim Liston and Eric Violet. Eric Violet has been able to make that move, and he's been able to pull a significant gap now as well. He's got almost 5 seconds. So puts him into position 4 in class. So those two teammates running 4th and 5th. And it doesn't look like we've got any really close battles across that class, unfortunately. Everyone's kind of spread themselves out a little bit. Some of them have been starting to get lapped by the GTLM leaders. So just noticed I've got Arthur Chan and Kevin Ford have come up as being involved in an incident, so there could have been some car contact involved there. We might need to have a look at that.
So we will kind of have to take a look at that. We already have a driver waiting here for an interview. It was the driver who unfortunately had that spin at the start here. We'll go ahead and just get him in to the commentary booth here right now. It is Miguel Arcrudo. So, Miguel Arcrudo, welcome to the commentary booth. You were leading that race there for such a long time. You fell back to second, and then unfortunately had that spin, which caused you to retire there. Kind of tell us about what happened there from your end, and why you think that incident happened.
Yeah, first of all, thank you guys for everything on the coverage. I'm new to this series. Well, basically was a simple mistake. You have to be perfect to be able to run with these guys in the top 10. Just made a slow down getting to the straight, so got me, and I tried to change the line a little bit to give room, and simply snapped from the back and hit the wall. On the Porsche, I let him by because he was using my draft to keep the pace with me, and I noticed in one of the moments that if I went behind him, I could easily pass him. So I wasn't gonna fight it. He was driving perfect. All those guys were driving perfect.
Yeah, so you obviously were saying that you do have to be just so perfect to be able to run with these guys. That's kind of one thing that we've been speaking about up here is that, all these drivers are very, very quick. And you really have to be on your top of your game to be able to run up here, and you just said it perfectly there. I totally agree with that. It's so unfortunate to see that small little mistake can cost you so much here on the long run. Are you going to run the rest of the championship? And if so, are you looking to bounce back even stronger than you did tonight?
Oh yeah, hopefully I can run every race. For me, it's more about the fun, the great racing. Every driver here has been really good. Kevin Ford welcomed me pretty nicely. So basically, I'm not more into the positions. I hope just for clean racing. And as I said, in this series, you have to do every lap like it's a qualified lap, just to be able to keep with them. Really, really good battles and organization here.
So thank you, Miguel, for coming to get an interview with us here. Unfortunate end to your race, but still, is there anyone you would like to thank?
Oh, all my friends from the team, Delta. We've been practicing. My son is also running here. He runs a Porsche. He had an incident on the first lap, so out of the race too. But everyone that makes this possible, I kind of know all behind the scenes what it takes, to do these kind of great events. So thanks to everyone.
Well, thank you for coming to get an interview with us here tonight. Unfortunately, we had to speak with you in these conditions, but we hope to see you back here even stronger and in a bit of better circumstances for the next round for the Ricmotech GT Challenge Series.
Yeah, thanks. No worries. I'm pretty happy with the race, so everything is good.
Well, that was Miguel Arcrudo there coming in for an interview here tonight. Unfortunately, we did have to speak with him in those conditions. Couldn't speak in a little bit more fun conditions, maybe getting a podium for him, but unfortunate into his race there. Simple mistake, like you said, can cost you just so much. And these drivers are so good that you have to run every lap like a qualifying lap. So that just shows that these drivers really are some of the best. And if you want to race some of the best, you have to get into one of these Ricmotech leagues and get yourself ready to go racing here, because these drivers are so quick and you have to be so perfect in order to be able to run up here with these top guys. These are definitely some of the best in the business when it comes to sim racing.
Yeah, William Lasters, he's definitely putting on a display of consistency at the moment. He's just gradually been able to extend that gap of the lead there. And Patton and Dam are still battling. You can see he doesn't really look to be trying to get past. I think he's just happy just to sit in there at the moment. He's just kind of playing this like a game of chess. He just wants to be right in the right spot to pounce when it counts and just get past towards the end of the race there. So be interesting to see how that one plays out. Now, while we were speaking to Miguel, there was a couple other incidents that popped up on our timing screen as well. Michael Key, Lee Overton, and M. Scott, this Rambler, all came up as being involved in something. Not sure if that was all together or not. Rambler's still showing second in class. It can't have been anything too drastic. And Arthur Chan and Kevin Ford were the ones that popped up earlier, but Kevin's still running P10 and up 8 positions from where he started. And Arthur is up 16 spots still in position 12, so whatever it was can't have been too drastic. They're still performing quite well. And Humberto Roca, with the demise of Miguel, unfortunately before, that promoted him another spot to 6th, so 21 spots up from his starting position. In the GTD field, the leader in Gagnon Renaud, he's up 11 positions, and Eric Violet, who we spoke about just before, who's in P4 in that class, he's up 11 as well, and his teammate Jim List behind, he's also up 8, as is Tyler Guillemette in the Audi. So yeah, there's a lot of people that have made significant gains during this race.
Yeah, they definitely have made a lot of gains here. And back to the battle for the lead here. William Laster has now pulled out a 2.2 second advantage over Aeronom, and right now it doesn't look like that gap is coming down anytime soon. Now, whether just commentators cursed William Laster or not, I don't know. That will have to be seen here in just a few moments' time. But I do believe that Aeronom really is starting to fall back from William Laster, and I think he's starting to not have the same pace that Laster is having. And Peyton, though, they don't have any troubles from behind for Peyton. He is 11 seconds back from this front group. But he has Mike Dam to worry about right now. And Mike Dam seems to be... Oh, Mike Dam's locked up. Just as I was about to say Mike Dam is in the perfect seat to take that position, Mike Dam locks up and loses 2.5 seconds. That's actually going to lose him about 3 seconds there. So that's very, very unfortunate here. And your biggest mover, Roberto Roca, in the Delta Racing car, just about to make a move on Mike Dam's teammate, Pascal Iannucci. If he can try and get a move done now, here on the Mulsanne straightaway, let's ride on board with him. We're going to go side by side down with the second Mulsanne chicane, and I think he's actually going to clear him even before he gets to the chicane. So nice move there, Humberto Roca up into fifth spot from 27th place on the grid. That just shows that really Le Mans is one of those special tracks where really anything can happen. Even if you start way in the back, you can still do good here at Le Mans. One of the things that I think was the best statement that ever has been said, I don't quite remember who said it, but it basically said that Le Mans you don't win Le Mans chooses you to win. And I think that is a very true statement. No one really wins at Le Mans. Le Mans chooses her winner.
Yeah, it certainly seems that way sometimes. I know from my experience of racing around here in the 24 and a few other events. Yeah, you can have an incident early in the race, and you think, you know, everything's over, race is over, but you get the car back out there, and you can be surprised just how much you can recover sometimes.
Yeah, there is a little bit of traffic here coming up for William Laster. He has a little bit of same class traffic, so whether they will get out of his way or not, that is yet to be seen. Looks like one of the drivers will, so one of two will get out of his way, but that's going to cost him a lot of time to Aeronom deal with this traffic a bit quicker. Let's see Will they let Nam by, or will he get held up through the Ford chicanes? One of those is a GTD traffic, and he has gotten through that as Lassiter very quickly. And it looks like Aero Nam is going to get by both of them. Maybe get held up. No, he's going to get held up. No, yes, actually, he will get held up through the Ford chicanes. That's going to cost him a lot of times. Every bit of advantage that he just gained, he has just lost. And that is the number 5 car of Tyler Gualmente, who has just lost out the position there to... hasn't lost out the position. He was getting lapped there by Aero Nam, but Aero Nam has closed up slightly, 0.2 of a second, but not where he was. He was down to 1.4 seconds. Now he's back up to 1.8.
It's always difficult to be in the position of Tyler Gualamente there. Approaching the Ford chicane, there's only one line really. It's very hard to jump out of the way there. I mean, perhaps he could have lifted just a little bit on the approach to get that done before the chicane, but yeah, other than that, there's not much more he could have done really.
Really not a whole lot that he could have done here. We're in the final 5 minutes of this race here for these drivers. Let's jump in. Let's give some love here to your GT3 class. We really haven't talked so much about the GTD class. Sadly, the racing tonight has been a little bit lackluster from this class. Everyone is really spread out and kind of stayed spread out here. But we will give a little bit of airtime here to your leader, who has done a commanding race lead. He has 28 seconds to Edgar Sancinelli in a GTE car, then has another 21 seconds back, or another 20 seconds back to Rambler, Scott Rambler, who had that spin on lap 1 and is still back up in a second place. Big shout out to him. That is an amazing drive that he was able to move himself up. So he has done a great job there to really move himself up the field and get himself back up into some nice points-paying positions.
Yeah, so just looking at the championship scenario, Brock Hopkins, who we saw have that early incident while fighting for the lead, he was third in the championship on 56 points leading into this event. So that's definitely going to hurt his chances. And our leader here, Gagner Renault, was only 2 points behind, fourth in the standings. So he stands to gain quite significantly. Shiflett was in P2 with 57 points, so those 3 guys are really close together on points in the series before this race. So there'll be a little bit of shuffling between those here.
So sorry to cut you off here, but William Lassiter has had a crash supposedly, and he has lost P1. It's a 1.2 second gap, and he's had a big drift through the first Bolson chicane. He will be lucky that he didn't hit the wall, but he now has 1.2 seconds to close up here on Aero Nam. So will Lassiter be able to close it up before the end of this race, or will Aero Nam just have that little bit of an advantage? There's 2 minutes left to go. Will they get the white flag this time? Byer will be on 2 laps to go.
Wow, that's so close to the end, and things have taken another dramatic turn. We've seen that a couple of times in this race, in both classes. So yeah, you never know what's going to happen here at Le Mans.
No, you really don't ever know what's going to happen. And Aero Nam actually isn't losing any time. He's actually gaining time on William Lassiter. So Lassiter's going to have to put in, which I think is going to be the final lap of the race here. I think we're leading on to the final lap of this race. And I think he's going to, and if William Lassiter, he's going to have to put in the best lap of his life if he wants to catch Aero Nam by the time they get around 3 minutes from now to the checkered flag. That is if that is the final lap. I do believe that we did just take the white flag. But we'll just have to wait and see there. But just as all the drivers cycle their way through, that is big though. And also, look at Aero Nam. He's catching up to some GTD traffic. Currently hasn't lost him any time, but it may cost William Lassiter a bit of time here.
Oh, Nam's still not passed through Tetra Rouge. It's only just coming onto the straight that he's able to get through, so that's definitely costing time. It's under a second now. Lassiter closing. He's going to get the draft.
Also going to cost some time all the way down this Mulsanne straight, considering that he did not have the greatest entry. And you got to think, even if William Laster doesn't get him by the time they get through the first Mulsanne chicane, he's not going to still lose time because he's not close enough to that group to lose that much time. If he does, it's not going to be very, very minor. So you know William Laster will be all over the flash headlight button as he heads down this next straightaway. He's now down to 0.7 of a second, now into 0.6. William Laster is putting in the final lap of his life here. He wants this race win.
Yeah, he wants redemption for that mistake earlier, so we'll see what he can do. He's closing, it's almost half a second there now. We head down to the chicane. See on the interval, it's still closing. Nom with a great exit. He really attacked that. That was, yeah, smart driving there. He kind of sacrificed the entry a little bit to get a really strong exit.
This is going to be the last lap battle. If this is the last lap, this will be a last lap battle of a lifetime between these two. Two very quick drivers. Aero Nom, who has been in the Ricmotech series for a long, long time now, a multi-time champion. Will he fight William Laster to the deaths and to try and win this race? I think that he will, but he also has to keep the championship in mind. Whereas I don't think William Laster is so close in the championship. I think he's really going to be going for that outright race win here. And he so far has put in the last lap of the lifetime. He's down now to 3.5 of a second. Now, almost under 0.3 of a second here as they head down into Indianapolis and head in towards the Percha curves. Will he send one down the inside into Arnage? I think he's going to try it.
Oh, so close here. His last was really strong under brakes through Indianapolis. He's closed right up there because there's only a couple of car lengths between them at the moment. He's trying to close up on the draft, get right underneath the rear wing of this Ferrari coming through the Porsche curves. Oh, thought he was going to have a look there for a second.
And I think he still may here through the Porsche curbs if this is the last lap. Then I don't think that William Laster is going to be able to get it. He has put in the last lap of a lifetime, but there's really nowhere else to pass. He's not close enough to make the move into this next left-hander, and I don't think he's going to be able to be close enough to send one down the inside through the forward chicane. And I believe that Aero Nom is going to have 2 chicanes left, or 4 corners left, to come home to take this race victory. William Laster sends it down the inside. He goes across the strip, though, and he is going to have to slow down. Aero Nom is going to win this race. William Laster is going to come across the line to finish in second. Mike Dam, how will he finish? He's going to be working his way now through the final.
He made the move on Patton. Just as I thought.
He has gotten through on Patton. Mike Dam will finish in third. David Payton in fourth. Humberto Roca will come home in fifth. And Pascal Iannucci will round out your top 6 drivers. Let me just say, wow, that was incredible on the last lap.
Those guys really bunched up towards the end there. You can see the gap between Dam, Payton, Roca, Iannucci. They all came across the line very close together there. And
it really did come across the line close.
That was a valiant attempt from Laster there at the end, but yeah, he had to go off track to try that move and to avoid contact in the end. So he did the right thing and just sort of slowed down to give the position back. So, but yeah, it's great to see the guys fighting right towards the end there.
Yeah, that was a big fight between them, and here is your race winner, Aero Nom. He won the race here tonight, and will I just say, that was an insane dive by William Laster. If he actually made that stick, I think that would have been the dive of the race, or the move of the race, because that was incredible. Now, Ian Gagon Renault has got just a few corners left. He is heading down the long back straightaway here at Le Mans, and he's heading in towards Indianapolis here. in the next few moments' time. And let's ride on board with him here to the end of the race. Let's give him some love here and give him some airtime here towards the end of this race.
Yeah, we can see there's only three GTD cars that remained on the lead lap. And you can see Listy fourth and Violet with Wells and sixth, but they're all across the line. Just Gardner, Renault, Shiflet and Rambler to close out their laps.
Such a beautiful last sector here on the lawn, especially in the sunset. And on board this Mercedes AMG GT3 car with, if he can survive the last few chicane here, the last little bit of the chicane, then he will claim the race victory. Ian Gagan Renault, he's been close before. I don't think he's won a race yet in the championship, but he will round his way now through the forward chicanes. He has got 2 more corners to go, one to the left and one to the right. He hops over the first chicane, hops over the second curb, and he will win here at Le Mans. Ian Gagan Renault is victorious in GTD.
Yeah, celebrates coming across the line there as well. It's always good to see.
As we wait now, just the final few drivers to make their way through the final couple of corners, and we will get your final race results up on your screen when those drivers do come across the line. And I think that will be pretty much everyone across the line. We're just waiting on the final results to be tallied up and ready to go. And the final results are ready, and they're up on your screen. Go ahead and run through them, please.
Yeah, so as we've just seen, Aeronom taking out the victory in GTLM and overall. William Laster in P2. Mike Dam came home third to complete the podium with a last-minute tactical move on David Payton, who I'm sure he's disappointed with that, to have Dam in the mirrors for so long, and then to just fall off the podium. Yeah, he won't be too happy with that. But driver of the day, Humberto Rocca, amazing, 5th place finish. We'll have to check to see if he maintained the fastest lap. I'm not sure if anyone else got into the 47, so he may have held that. So 22 positions gained. Great job from the Delta Racing driver. P6 Pascal Inucci, Elvis Rankin in 7th, Bobby Childs 8th, Travis Davis 9th, Arthur Chan in 10th, Kevin Ford in 11th, Travis Schwenke in 12th, Jeff Jacobs 13th, 14th we had Chris Thorman from D2Do Esports, Rafael Sosa in 15th, George Fike in 16th, 17th was Brian Cartier, and 18th Russ Ruddick. It's rounding out the first page of results for GTLM.
And sorry, quickly we'll switch it over there for you. Just trying to get final championship points added into the overlay here.
Yep. So we can see in P19 overall was our GTD race winner Ian Gagnon Renaud. P20 is not sure if that's an overlay issue with the name there. I'm not familiar with all these drivers, having not covered the series before, but Diolio in Delta Racing. Tyler Schiffler, P2 for the GTD class, followed by M. Rambler. He completes the podium for GTD. And 23rd we had Raymond F. Beta Jr., Jim List in the GTD class again, Eric Violet, Jack Wells, Tyler Gulamante was the first Audi home there. 28th Chris Chirogotis, 29th Chad Parker, 30th was Lee Overton, and Edgar Sancinelli, 31. Michael Key, 32. Derek Holland was 33rd. 34th was Robert Brist. And those drivers were all a lap down. And then we get down to drivers who are 2 laps down, which is 35th Michael Hilliard. And beyond there, just having a look.
And the final page of results should be up on your screen.
Yeah, sorry. So 36th is Brendan Meisler from LMG Racing. He was 3 laps back, and then we unfortunately get into the drivers which had major issues at one stage of the race or another. Our long-time battler for the lead, El Crudo, who we spoke to before, in 37th. And then we have Brandon Whitworth, Brock Hopkins, Clint Vargas, Andrew Curran, Caden Bin, Miguel El Crudo, Brandon Wilson, and that rounds out the field. Yeah, some big names towards the end there, judging on the notes that Kevin sent through before the event, with Karen and Bin from RSR Esports both having terrible days today.
Yeah, they definitely had some pretty bad days. Not the days that they would have wanted. Let's try and get the championship results up here for you. Let's try and get your post-championship results up. Let's see if I can get that working here. And get that up. So this is not how they will sit out. So I do not sadly have the championship results up for you. So now let's quickly just go ahead and we'll switch over to get some interviews here with your race winners from each one of the classes. First, who do you fancy talking to first? You want to talk to Arrow, or do you want to talk to Ian?
Maybe we'll speak to Ian first. We'll cover the GTD and then come back to GTLM.
All right, so let's go ahead and we will have a talk here with Ian Gagon Renault. So, Ian, welcome to the commentary booth here tonight. You had an amazing race and was able to really pull out that race victory in the end. You really pulled out. I mean, how did you pull out such a gap is my main question. I know a lot of that was due to the pit stops, but how did you pull out the last little bit that counted there?
I know that Le Mans is one of my fastest tracks, so yeah, I was trying to pull really hard to get a gap, and I noticed that the guy behind me got a slowdown as well, so that helped me a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you definitely
Ian,
pulled out a good pit stop strategy there in the end. You know, what was kind of the keys? What would you say is kind of the key to success here at Le Mans? Like you said, this is one of your fastest tracks. So, what do you think personally is kind of one of the keys that you really need to be fast here, and one of the keys to success?
I think consistency is like on a long track like this, you need to be to get the most speed out of the corners and be smooth as possible and brake as late as possible. I mean, it's like that on most track, but on this track, it's very important.
Yeah, we obviously had that mastered quite well here at this circuit. This is not an easy circuit to get right, and this is also not a very easy series to win in. It's a lot of competition, so I'm sure that there's a lot of people that make it happen for you. Is there any shout outs you'd like to give?
Yeah, I'd like to give a shout out to Alpine Synsport that always helped me out with the setups and everything. So yeah.
Well, there you go. Race winner in your GTD class. Congratulations, Ian. Hopefully, we see you back in the commentary booth next time out for the GT Challenge series here on the Monday nights or Tuesdays, depending on where you are in the world. But again, congratulations on your win, and hopefully see you again next time.
Yeah, thank you guys.
And now we'll get Aaron Nam in. Aaron, welcome to the commentary booth. You had another amazing race and another win to add to your win cabinet. How big is your trophy cabinet at this point? I just want to know because you've gotten so many wins in the Ricmotech series, whether that be in the GT Challenge series, the World Challenge series, or in the Sports Car series. And that just adds another tally to your impressive list of wins. It wasn't easy. And William definitely gave you a fight there all the way to the end, made an insane dive. But kind of give us how that race went from your perspective.
Yeah, it was pretty tough race. The quali, I was thinking maybe I can get pole, but I miscalculated how many laps I can do. So, but yeah, in the race, the first lap I took really easy, waiting the tires to come up. Maybe I was too slow there, but like 5 laps in, I saw that I don't have enough fuel, so I had to save fuel. So that was really, really hard.
Yeah, definitely, definitely a challenge to save fuel there, and being that it is a 90-minute race, you almost have to take it as a different preparation, I'm assuming, than the 75-minute with the different fuel calculations and things like that. You have a bit longer that you have to work with that. Is the Ferrari? Do you personally think that it works better on the longer fuel runs, or do you like it more on the shorter fuel runs, or is that kind of just more setup and track dependent?
I think it's the same in every car. Haven't run any other cars, but it gets better when the fuel goes out. So, but yeah, this track I did the setup pretty easy on the tires because we don't change tires in the 90-minute race. So that was the key.
Yeah, well, it's definitely very difficult to go 90 minutes. We know a lot of people do that in the endurance races, but for these kind of almost sprint endurance races, if that makes sense, it's really it's kind of almost a challenge because you do push a bit harder in these races than you do in those endurance races. And we know that it's not easy to win one of these races and that it takes a lot of people to be able to win one. So, is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to tonight?
Yeah, I'd like to thank everybody who's racing in the league, the admins. The traffic was pretty okay this week again. Because yes, big track we didn't get any big traffic, but yeah, and I'd like to thank you guys there in the booth.
Well, thank you, Arrow, and congratulations on another race win. And hopefully, we see you back here in a few weeks' time, I believe, for the next round of the championship.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
So, Arrow Nam, that is your 2 winners from tonight. And Brad, let's get a little bit of final thoughts from you here from Le Mans as we kind of cap off the broadcast and we cap off another exciting round of action.
Yeah, it was a nice race for my induction to Apex and this series. It was obviously we saw a great battle in GTLM pretty much right through the whole race. GTD, unfortunately, with the Hopkins incident, that kind of robbed us of a really good battle for the lead there. With the first half of the race, that was quite entertaining. And yeah, as Nom just mentioned, it was good to see the traffic when that did become a factor. They really managed that quite well. Most of the guys it didn't affect the outcome. And yeah, that's just generally they put on quite a good show. So I'll be looking forward to following the series a little bit more closely from now and see how the championship evolves. There's quite a few points implications after this race. So yeah, it's on to the next round.
Yeah, well, it should be a great round to watch next time out. I'm not quite sure where we go, but next week I do believe we pick back up with the first round of the Ricmotech Sports Car Series, the other series that runs over Apex Racing TV and is another Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech series. So it should be a lot of fun to watch. We will be doing that. Then the next World Challenge race will not be until the 1st of October. So we'll be getting that in on the 1st of October for Ricmotech World Challenge. We take 2 weeks off when we go to Sports Car Series racing during that time period. So we should have some amazing racing to cover for you over there on the first 2 rounds of that championship. But from us here in Le Mans, we will say goodbye for now, and we'll see you again next time.